Okay, so once the valve cover's back on, you need to take these caps off and readjust the valve clearance. I believe the fronts are, well, let me just double check the spec before I say anything because I don't remember. But you just have to get a wrench on this and a flathead screwdriver, loosen this and then tighten this till it kind of gets a little tight, but you can still wiggle the feeler gauge. Okay, so once everything's set, don't do what I just did and forget if you tighten the oil pump bolts back, because then you have to take the entire case back off, which I just did, which is fine. It's not that hard, but hopefully I salvaged the gasket good enough. Now I'm going to attempt to put these exhausts back on and tighten them down and try to turn it over, see if it turns over. Put some gas in it, put the gas tank back on. We'll see how it goes. Okay, I'm not recording near as much as I should be just because I'm getting tired of holding this phone up to do this, but got the exhaust on, putting the gas tank on right now, the carburetor's on, and basically I've turned it over a couple times without any gas in it, so if I could get some oil going through it, I filled it up with oil. I'm going to go ahead and get the gas tank on, get some fuel in it, and see if it'll run. Alright, going to try to start it for the first time. Alright, let's see, we'll see how it goes. I'm editing this video right now, and I gotta be 100% honest, that was not the first time we started this thing. It's actually the second time. It was so late in the day of me recording this stuff, and I'm not used to recording anything, so I totally forgot to record me trying to start it for the first time, and it took forever for it to start. It probably took about 5 minutes, so not really forever. But it finally kicked over and turned on, and then I let it run for about a solid 3 minutes before I realized, oh crap, I was supposed to record me starting it. So, just trying to be honest with you guys, that was not the first time. And a lot of this footage is going to be really jumpy because I totally forgot to record most of the stuff that I did, like putting all the plastics back on and basically everything else after this point because I got too excited that it started and ran. And I wanted to ride it, so. Alright, so once you let it warm up for about 10 minutes, you're going to want to change the oil again. Just flush the oil out, that way, because the cylinder is going to scrape off and bead or mend together, whatever it's called, with the rings and the piston. And there's going to be shavings in your oil, so you're going to want to flush the oil out, give it a good nice new oil change, and then we're going to go ahead and get ready for the break-in. So, found a leak, the gasket, when I had to take this pan back off to make sure, double check that I tightened the oil pump bolts back. I knew it was probably going to be a little messed up because the gasket tore a little down there, so it's leaking from right where I figured it would, and I'm going to have to take this off and probably replace the gasket for it. So once again, I don't have any other footage after this point. I added the RTV to the case, let it tack up for about 15 minutes, put the case back onto the bike, and from there waited about an hour before I torqued everything down and then started putting the plastics back on to see if it would hold. To this point, the RTV is still holding. It's, about maybe 5 days later. I should have let it cure for a full 24 hours before I rode, but I just went ahead and rode and broke the bike in. It was pretty hard ride, I would say. I took it for about a hour-long ride to my buddy's house using dirt roads, which I don't have a camera yet to show that, and I will eventually. But from there, I rode around with him for a little bit at his house, which you'll see some footage of that here in a minute. And after being at his house, I went back home. Took me about another hour, and waited until the next day, cleaned the bike off, and then changed the oil. Well, I made it all the way to my buddy's house. It was about like a 30-40 minute drive on the dirt road. So far the things ran pretty good. Haven't had any issues. I did notice there's a clacking noise. Let me see. I don't think my camera will turn around, but there's something going on with the something. Whenever I hit a bump or hit a little, hole in the ground in the dirt road, there seems to be a clacking noise. But here we go. His four-wheeler smokes a little bit, but so far she's running good. We had that couple issues with. Oh, let me turn. What? You a phone call? No. Oh. We had a couple issues with the gasket leaking, so I made an RTV gasket, and it hasn't had any issues so far. So, oh gosh, look at him. Killing all the mosquitoes, but so far so good. She runs great. So the clacking noise I kept talking about in that previous video wasn't really clacking. It was almost like a ticking or something. It was metal hitting metal, and I realized later on down the road that it was actually the chain hitting the skid plate because it became loose over the period of me riding. Breaking in the motor is also breaking in this chain. It's never been rode on before, so it loosened up a little bit. So I just tightened it back up, and it appeared to fix the noise. So what it was is this bottom part of the chain was hitting this skid plate because it was loose. It was smacking it every bump. Once I sit on the four-wheeler, this tightens down a lot, but that's what the noise was. So figured out what that noise is, thankfully. Thankfully it wasn't anything else wrong. It smokes a little bit. Not bad.
Feels so weird.
Bike's nice and clean from yesterday. Just washed it from all the mud and stuff from the first ride yesterday. Still have to change the oil out after that first break-in period. Right now I'm drilling out this fender because it's cracked, and I'm going to be putting zip ties through it. Going to be crossing them. So hopefully that video didn't. Going to be crossing the zip ties. So I'll let you guys do that. See it periodically as I put them in. So the best way I've found out to do it is at least leave a little room there, or else your drill bit will slide into the crack. It's kind of hard to do these, but I think these will turn out a little better. And then as I get down farther, it should seal up pretty good. So I think this is called like ATV stitching or something. I took the seat and plastic off. It's all one piece from the 99s to 2004s. 2005s, they made it a little better where you can take the seat off instead of taking all the plastic off. But I think I'll be able to get in here with a better angle with my drill with the plastic off. This is as far as I got, and I ran out of zip ties, but you can see the plastic's not near as floppy anymore. Before I finish it all, I need to get some more zip ties, but I'm probably going to do another piece up here where this little crack is. That way that can't mess up. And then on the bottom, once you're done, you have all these zip ties. Just take a wire cutter here and just snip these things. just like that. I just need more zip ties. Probably need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Probably a pack of 10 will work perfectly for me. And then that'll be done.